Write about someone who did not get along with their family as a child, but has since found an appreciation for them. Stinky Bill by Dumisan Khumalo. A long tale of stories had all animal lovers listening to grandmother's tales for the wise words, wisdom, and even grandfather's tales came next to hers, whose warrior tales fell short of hers, the grand gatherer of tales, as she was at pains when Stinky Bill was around, a bird with teeth they called him, for not seeing any love or endearment in sitting down at night to tune in on life's atonement of the dreary evening smothered by story times when children were about to go to sleep. Stinky Bill was even called wolf or hyena by taking the children's pleasure away, and his hunting skills were daring, they compared to his fathers and grandfathers, who told their warrior tales only when they were aware of him joining in for the skill search. The downtrodden and fighting spirit of those who came close to him were by no means equal and kept them worried. 4 times the meat came in, and they had to beg for many things after that, as the meat became the currency and the bravery of a man so hated. Stinky Bill was denied time to tell his tales, of the hows and whys to what to use to capture that animal, or that little spare time everyone wanted before they went to sleep with curses on their breath about him. He was the evil in the whole dreamworks and denied the children the chance to dream by their own brother, to see where their life was going to, and finding their self-made wills and solace and independence, and this is when Stinky Bill became stinky in the village. What did rabbit do, or elephant and rhino get cheated over, and the cheat made out to be Sobe was worse as Stinky Bill, that bird with teeth telling candid tales of survival of the fittest, and to tell them no animal does that and it's all in the imagination, made them so angry. Hunting was a sport, and poaching was what cheats like him did. With what was the difference? He kept the meat and the village kept begging from him. There was a will taken from to do better, and what was the difference if he did good for the tummy and bad for their heads, and they threw him out of the hut for it? The story times would end in the niche of excitement, questions thrown in, and if he was there these would be unending arguments, battle for truth. So was there Harrow, before the elders given a bad name, as children saw his prowess in hunting, who better to tell them about these schemes, loathsome hours, at his legacy they slept before he even opened his mouth. Stinky Bill is coming from South Africa for the festive season, the grand gatherer of tales said, having gathered the information as in those surprise moments when the rabbit or baboon had chip off its shoulder in the twist of tales, and all wide open surprised eyes were on her. Festivities and their golden moments and the expectations of golden minds were very valuable. At that will of the wisp at a time there was no food on the table, and the hunter was coming back for them to fill their stomachs and not their minds, made them have 2 minds. To love and not to love him, like they were all taking a vote. He was wise to eat all kinds of meat, rabbit, possum, bird, squirrel, and small antelopes. They also ate termites. If this is worse than pork, if you did not know the biblical paws made knuckly heads crows, he would shout out, because of the vigor and vice in pigs. They ate everything and anything. The day came as Sobe, Stinky Bill, came from his work in South Africa, and the devil's embarkment was not met with children at the bus stop as tradition when other people came. So that's how you hate me, said Sobe the Stinky Bill, the bird with teeth, grinning. Not his brother and sister came, even with less food seen. There was even less seed available, the field were not prepared as all rainy seasons as when plantings began. The village was losing something it had with the change in climate, and the less social care, with social distancing, was making life difficult. The chronicle of humans' migratory disease was taking its toll, and the children wanted to see the difference to be seen now than ever since he had gone out of their country to seek those teeth that looked golden, and the bling too, and they always saw them prophetically, birds' teeth. As he embelled out to carry his cases. Stinky Bill's confidant was Farting Joe, who now lived like a recluse, and no one good enough to tell him the good news of the arrival of his friend in the village. He just got a curious eye and saw that rugged trudging walk he knew too well. The village no came to live aloud as rumor mills debated Stinky Bill's arrival, if the meat would come as used to, or if he still had it in him, as now he lived on the town, and local there in Johannesburg called him Joe Town, for the privileges that Stinky Bill would have in the gold belt. He and his friend were sitting alone with great-grand storyteller, and she had been given a more respectful greeting from the old mischievous animals calls he gave her. In the past, the village got know about it because the grand gatherer of tales told them that Sobe the Stinky Bill and bird with teeth was now a changed person, more loving and caring than he had been before. He had learnt his lesson well, and he was asking about everyone and apologetic, talking about failing dreams, and that those story times he had remembered when he was alone in the golden city full of hunters and gatherers who did not understand each other at all. The children were surprised when they heard this and started trickling into his hut in small numbers to see a Stinky Bill with golden teeth, ready to tell them about the jungle that the city was, with all leopards, hyenas, lions, and elephants that the great grand gatherer had talked about. He had listened to the tales, and they had come alive, in the city, where there were more rabbits and monkeys taking people for a ride, and they were hard to hunt down because of the law.